Blog Talk Radio.
It's the Jenny Hatt Show at Blogging Mothers Magazine. My special guest today is Carla Hartley. Carla, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jenny.
I would love to hear a little bit about your background, your work. Could you share with my listeners?
Certainly. I got started in birth work in 1976 and created the first distance program, first academic program for midwives in the United States in 1980, started sharing it with everyone in 81. And so I've been helping women become midwives for a really, really long time. Was a childbirth educator and a midwife and been involved as an advocate in several different ways. In 2005, I had a big meltdown over the increasing rate of surgical extractions of babies in this country, and figured by that time I'd been in birth work for 30 years, and yet our cesarean rate was a whole lot worse than it was when I started. And I'm thinking, what have we been doing? Because whatever we've been doing hasn't been working. And I had this epiphany that it's because we were addressing the wrong problem. Everything is based on a lie, that all our problems in birth are based on this lie, that birth is a medical emergency. And the truth is that birth is a function of biology, and it belongs to mothers, and mothers are smart enough to make all the decisions about their birth. So instead of, railing against the system and trying to change the system and writing about how horrible the system is, why don't I just take another approach, a more positive approach of telling mothers the truth? Because, mothers have believed the lie so long that their self-confidence is just eroded. And so we need to not only tell moms the truth, but remind them that their bodies know how to do it, even if they don't, and to encourage them to get the information that they need to build their confidence in their body and their ability to make all those decisions. So I started the Trust Birth Initiative. We did our first Labor Day event in New York City, and since then we've asked people to do Labor Day events in your own area over the Labor Day weekend. So a lot of families have taken this on as their own personal agenda for advocacy one day or one weekend out of the year, and a little plug for what we do. We encourage people to have the kinds of events that will invite people to ask you questions about birth, like have a Trust Birth conference, a Trust Birth garage sale. Had conference on the brain since we were just talking about it, a Trust Birth garage sale, and decorate the sacks with Trust Birth slogans and put up signs and give out freebies like our Birth Truth cookies. We have little fortune cookies, but instead of you will meet a tall, dark stranger, they'll say things like birth is safe, interference is risky. Brochures, pamphlets, cards, whatever people want to give out. People also do that at big picnic in the park. Sometimes a whole group of families will get together and have a picnic in the park, put up signs, and to try to draw attention to the conversation of birth. And their families sometimes have little parades in their neighborhood, little family walks, or they have a lemonade stand, or they just do something that creates the opportunity to interact with people so they can talk about birth.
Well, tell me more about the conference, because I first heard your name when my friend Laura Shanley was going to go speak at a Trust Birth conference. I know that you've organized these, I think, every year for the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, we were skipping a year for a while. We had one in 2008, 2010. We had one in Nashville this past summer, and we're next September we're having one in Sydney, Australia. And then in the fall of 2014, it will be Vancouver, BC. And then 2015 is going to be in Denver, your old stomping grounds.
Yeah, it's too bad. I just moved to Utah. I won't be able to go.
Exactly.
But the feedback I've heard from friends, many friends who've attended, is that these conferences are fabulous.
Yep, I think they are. And I think there are a couple of reasons. One is because we really focus on science, because, as it turns out, it's not all about the experience, but it is all about the experience, because the experience makes it safer, and the safety enhances the experience because our bodies are equipped to make birth safe if we don't interfere with it. So we have very, very solid science, and I think the people who come to the Trust Birth conferences are people who want the same things for mothers that we do. You know, it's not necessarily that we all believe exactly the same things, but we want the same thing, and that is for mothers and babies to have their birthright, the best experience that they can have. So we just attract the most fantastic people in the world and have such a good time. And, you know, when Laura was a speaker for us in 2008, we gave her an award for all the contributions she's made to the philosophy of birth trust. And she was surprised to find that this conference that was made up primarily of midwives and midwifery students loved her so much. She just didn't know she had such a huge following out there because the idea often is that midwives are against unassisted birth or family birth. But, you know, most of the midwives that I associate with think it's great.
Well, reading Laura's book in '94 changed my life. And yeah. I just picked her book up at the library and then come to find out she's right in my backyard. And so for the last 18 years, we've just been good buds. But, you know, it's such a blessing that so many of you activists have been willing to step up and speak out and speak the truth. The purpose of this, first, before we go into the purpose of the podcast, I'd really like you to share the website for the conference where people can find you on the Internet.
Okay. There's several different ways to get a hold of me. If you want to be my Facebook friend, there are 3 opportunities there. One is Carla Hartley, and the profile pic is I Trust Birth and the Mother Who Owns It. And then there's Ancient Art Midwifery Institute, which is the name of the school, and then Doppler Danger, because I'm very much opposed to ultrasound and Dopplers. The websites are trustbirth.com, trustbirthconference.com, ancientartmidwifery.com, and we have a website for our Labor Day effort. It's called birthtruthonlaborday.com. So you can get a hold of me that way. And the other way is to email me, ancientartmail, that's ancientartmail @gmail.com, about any specific thing. And since we're going to be talking about licensing and the big push, there's not going to be nearly enough time to cover it all. So I have a PDF that I can send you, or you can look at notes on my Facebook. But I have put some of those notes together in a PDF that I can email you if you want to email me and tell me that you're interested in learning more about licensure and the big push and why I'm really afraid of it. And
you also have a conference call you were telling me about.
Yes, about once a month. Yeah, you can ask to be on that list. About once a month I offer a free conference call on licensure, and sometimes it's me, and sometimes it's me and other people like Gloria LeMay or Maren Leister, other people who have a lot of invested effort in talking about the registration or licensure of midwifery and how that serves to hurt moms. So if you want to get on that list and find out when the next one is, you can also email me about that.
Great. Well, thanks so much for sharing all that great information. And those of you who are listening, take the time. Go to these sites. Check it out. It will change your life. Now, the purpose of our podcast today is to talk about the big push. And I was seduced by the big push. I'm a blogger. And when it first got going a couple of years ago, I went and grabbed all their graphics, did a couple of big blog entries on it, and I really believed that this was something to help families. And it was Carla who actually educated me on how the big push is basically a search and destroy mission to identify midwives, kind of like the Nazis identified Jews back in the day. They didn't make them wear the little Star of David, and we find them, and then they're easier to round up. Those of you who may think, it's a little bit of hyperbolic speaking on my part, well, listen to what Carla has to say about this.
Well, I'm kind of known as the person who's against licensure, but I have a different perspective there, and that is I'm for the opposite of licensure. I'm for mothers owning their own births and being able to choose whoever they want to attend their birth. I'm for midwives having the freedom to serve all mothers and not just those who fit within a very narrow parameter. For example, in some states, if the midwives are licensed, they cannot help you if you want a VBAC, or there are other, options that would limit you from being able to utilize their